In 1865, 8 explorers ventured to investigate and avenge the murders of Frederick Panter, James Harding, and William Goldwire, 3 fellow explorers who had disappeared a year before them. The events that followed proved to indicate intentions of ruthless revenge on the Karajari Aboriginal community at Indinja Swamp near Lagrange. About 20 innocent Aboriginal men, women, and children were massacred by the 8 explorers in 1865. These 8 explorers were well armed and were not harmed. 48 years later, the Explorers Monument was erected in Esplanade Park to remember the 3 original explorers. However, there was no acknowledgement of the Aboriginal people's perspective. In fact, they were referred to as treacherous natives. 120 years later, the city of Fremantle erected another plaque to commemorate all of the Aboriginal people killed in the invasion of their land, and in particular, the people of Lagrange. The plaque today reads, "The monument described the events at Lagrange from one perspective only, the viewpoint of the white settlers. No mention is made of the right of Aboriginal people to defend their land or the history of provocation which led to the explorers' death."
Since 1788, Aboriginal Australians have been treated as disposable whenever they threatened white interests. Despite the honorable efforts of the Explorers Monument to commemorate the fallen Aboriginal Australians several years ago, many Aboriginal people to this day still feel alienated from the wider Australian society. Regardless of repeated attempts to bridge the gap between the two sides of the shared history, there continues to be a void in the full understanding and acknowledgement of the history and culture of Aboriginal people. According to Australia's best-known social researcher, Hugh McKay, most white Australians are reasonably tolerant toward the majority of ethnic groups, yet the hostility toward Aborigines is immense. Once white settlement reached the shores of Australia, the Aboriginal people were destined for disposition with no chance of retaining their homeland.
So, can Australia lay to rest the Aboriginal deaths within its colonial history? Any attempt to do so would be feeble. Buried beneath these growing cities and infrastructure is a foundation of blood-stained soils, where lies the reality of events that defines today's Australia.